Cynthia. Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? How's the week been?
It was interesting. Give me just a second. Let me get this screen.
Yeah.
Okay. It's been kind of a slow week. Didn't get to do everything I planned on because it was a busy week. My daughter surprised me and came in town on Friday because my 65th birthday was Saturday.
Happy birthday. Yay. That's a milestone.
Yeah, so my husband planned a special little getaway for us, and so we did that, and I've kind of been trying to catch up from behind that. Yeah, so as far as Miss Hazel goes, she's been pretty. She had a pretty copacetic week. Nothing too out of the box. My husband got sick when we got back. We just did a little overnight trip. So he was home for 2 days. So we had a few incidents then because, yeah, she doesn't really listen and he doesn't pay attention the way he should. And that's not, it's just, it is what it is. So I was upstairs cleaning up. I come downstairs. She's got a washcloth. She's eating a big hole in the middle of it. And I'm like, do you see her? He's like, what? And then so her bone was near. So I got the
Okay.
bone and she automatically jumped up because, oh my God, my favorite bone. Uh,
Beautiful.
and I was able to get the washcloth away from her. And another instance, him not paying attention, she's sitting on the couch with him chewing a pillow. So it's just a very different dynamic
Sure.
when she and I are home and he's home. So,
Yeah.
but other than that, we did work a little bit on the lay and it's slow. She'll
Okay.
she just she just like what are you asking me? Because she sees the treat and she wants it. She's like, but I'm not sure. And she'll do this circle thing and then she'll go down. So I guess her mind is trying to catch up with what I want her to do. So we're going to continue to work on that. Excuse me.
Sure.
I just wanted to see where she went. So she's just in the other room. But
Okay.
yeah, so not no big deal. I did in talking to a friend who adopted a pit bull. She was telling me about some floor puzzles. And so I started looking at those. So I'm going to order one tomorrow and see how she might like that. Um,
Sure.
yeah, I haven't had to use the lick mat this week because I did a lot of work out in the yard. So I just been like, okay, if you want to be with me, you need to come out here and hang out. And she really is starting to it seemed like being out there with us. So she's just kind of rooting around, exploring things. And then she comes up on the deck and settles in a spot. So I think that's really big because she wasn't, like every time we go outside, she just run back to the back door and like, okay,
Right.
let me in. And I'm like, yeah, no, because I can't trust her to be in the house by herself
Right.
and I would have to put a gate up, somewhere where she would be gated again. But when we're out there, she's pretty happy, and she'll do, if we take a toy out or something, she'll be obnoxious for the first few minutes, but then get it that no, we're not going to play nonstop.
Sure.
So, and I think your suggestion with limiting her time for the heavy play
Hmm.
has worked. So I tell her
Good.
10, 15 minutes, that's it.
Okay.
So she's not overly. Now, last night she was a little hyped, but she eventually calmed down. And then when it was time for her to go down and I got out the peanut butter, she was like, shh, straight down the steps waiting. Come on, I know it's my peanut butter and bone time. So, yeah,
Okay.
we're getting there.
Yeah. And I mean, progress isn't linear, right? We
Yeah.
don't go from point A to point B. Usually we go from point A and then we have to take a quick left and then a hard right and then we go back. So all of that is normal, especially because we're humans and we have things come up. There's going to be
Mhm.
some days or some weeks that we can provide more focus and attention to some skill we're working on. And there's going to be days or weeks that we can't because life is happening and we've got other things going on. So all of that sounds pretty standard and pretty normal. You're not alone in the journey, but I'm glad that you feel like we're making progress, albeit slowly, in the right direction. That's about where we should be, right? Where we're learning some skills, probably both for you and for Hazel. But I'm
Mhm.
glad to hear that she's overall less aroused with some of the management that we're using and that you have some tools at your disposal. The Licky Mat can also be used. I mean, technically, you can use it daily. Anything like that that you know that will keep her calm and just working on something for a few minutes, I recommend doing at least once a day, every single day.
Okay.
If you do it more often, I mean, kudos to you. But at the very least, doing it once a day I think is helpful to keep in her repertoire. Granted, if you want to save that for like the evening hours when you and Carla try to settle in the evening and just relax, and you know that's when she tends to be hyped up, you can save it just for that time. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if you want to
Yeah.
use things like puzzles and stuff, like those would be good projects too, to be like, are you calm after doing something like this? So there's all
Mhm.
sorts of puzzles out there based on what you want to order. The one thing I'll say about puzzles is if she doesn't see how she does with them, but if she doesn't engage with it or participate, she may not know what to do with it if she's never seen a puzzle before. I've had
Okay.
that happen with a few dogs where they don't know what a puzzle is. They've like literally
Okay.
never done one in their life. So to them, an easy looking puzzle for me, I present them and they're like, this is a college level puzzle. What am I supposed to do with it? So if she is like not interested, don't take that as a I'm not interested. It might either be too hard for her, like you need to
Mhm.
help her out, lure her a little bit on how to move whatever the parts are or whatever, or she might need a higher value treat in there to really get more of her attention. So don't completely discount it if she's like, I don't know what to do with that. May not be
Okay.
that she doesn't like it. It might
Mhm.
be that she doesn't know what to do with it. And
Yeah.
once she knows what to do, then you can get an idea of her preference. Like, oh, she doesn't like these kinds of puzzles. She prefers
Okay.
these and so forth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought it was worth a try because I think that
Yeah.
what I have noticed that the more engaged she is, with things and whatnot, then she just seems to be more chill in the aftermath. I mean,
Yes.
the plan is fun and everything, but the plan sometimes she'll come in and she's like, "Oh, I'm exhausted," and she's down for the count. Other times it's like, "Okay, all right, what are we gonna do next? Where's the ball? Where's the
Hmm.
ball? Where's this? Where's that? Where's the other?" And she just, and I have other things I need to move on to
Exactly.
instead of, having to watch her and make sure that she's then not tearing up the pillows or, engaging in other things she shouldn't be.
Right. Right. The I had sent a link in your worksheet, and you can check it out if you hadn't already for the long-term calming projects.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a lot of suggestions in terms of things that you can use to keep her occupied for periods of time. So you can
Yeah.
see the kinds of things she likes and what she prefers, and things that can keep her busy. In case you're looking to expand beyond the lick mat for something easy, right? Just kind of grab and go.
Mhm.
That might be something to look at for this coming week, just to see again what her preferences are. And you're absolutely right. And I think we talked about this in at least the prior couple sessions. Our goal is not just to give her the puzzles just for the sake of the puzzle. Like,
Right.
yes, it's mental enrichment, which is good, and we do want that. But I also want the added benefit of, are you relaxed after you engage with whatever the thing is, or am I seeing you less reactive to other things on a walk? Am I
Hmm.
seeing those reactions less intense? I want to
Hmm.
see the benefits might be seen in other areas too, which would be nice. That's why I
Yeah.
like to give these every single day, at least once. That way we can get her system just kind of and her needs are met.
Okay. One big thing I didn't tell you about was a friend came over. Like I said, it was my birthday, so I've had a lot of activity. It was a big birthday, so a lot of activity. So one of my friends wanted to drop off a present. And I warned her ahead of time. I said, if she's not, she will bark a lot. So don't be offended that she's barking, barking, barking. So I had my husband in the dining room with her and the gate up. And then we were in the living room area, and which is separated by a long sectional,
Yeah.
and so when my friend came in, she started bark, 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 bark. Oh, and she's barking and just jumping up and down, really hyped. And so I kept saying, Hazel, she's a friend, and Carl's like, come on, Hazel, calm down, calm down. So I got the treats and kind of threw them in the room and scattered. So she stopped and she got those up and,
Nice.
she was right, bark, 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 bark. So I had my friend, I said, here, throw them to her. And she's like, oh, she got treats. And so we're figuring that that's kind of how we'll introduce, make sure that I give them treats and stuff because, summer's coming and we're really outdoor entertaining people. And I don't want this to sound the wrong way, but she cannot, control all of that, and we can't have friends over. We need to see
Yeah.
if it's gonna work out, and if we have to keep her separate, I mean, we will. But I talked to my sister too. When we go down in July, I said I'm gonna send a box ahead of time with all the things that we, use for her and
Good.
to help out with, so that they'll be there. So when you meet her, you'll have treats, and because she is very driven by food and that sort of thing. So hopefully it won't be a situation where we have to leave her at the hotel by herself, and that we can take her and slowly, I told my sister, I said, we won't have too many people at one time, but, kind of hopefully within we've got May, June, the next 2 months, she'll be a little more comfortable. Because my one friend, she said, oh, I'm not bothered by the barking, I'll come over. And that's one way where we can help introduce people coming into the house. So
Okay. So
it's
we have
hard.
some resources. Okay.
Mhm.
I know that that's still one of our long-term plans. So based from last week, we were focusing more on the resource guarding, right? Her taking things, and we talked about the trading game, which I know you haven't had a lot of time to do because it's been a busy week. For today's session, do you want to focus more of our time going back to that, the trading game, if you've got questions or want to revisit it, or do you want to start talking about skills for introductions to people?
Skills for introduction, because if
Okay.
I won't have questions for the trading game until I actually get to do it. You know,
Okay, fair.
yeah, I wanted to get another I've got one I found one wooden spoon. So get another spoon thing, and the more peanut butter, because the one that I bought for dogs, she doesn't seem to like it as much as she does regular peanut butter. And I get it. The regular peanut butter is probably more sugar or whatever, and it's like, her super treat. So I think that the stressors would be a better focus. The introduction, I'm sorry, to humans would be better, because I won't have questions until I see what my success or failures with are with the trading.
Okay. So let's do that then. Before we talk about that, there's a couple things that I want to introduce so you can help me determine where we focus our efforts because introductions to people is not just like one thing that we work on. There's lots of things involved. One of the first things, and I've said this before, is I want Hazel to understand that if she's uncomfortable, she can move away. So
Hmm.
she doesn't have to stand there just barking, barking, barking. She can just go away. So I want her to be able to have that choice. Now, when you were when the your friend came over to drop off the present and you were tossing the treats over to the side, you said that she was barking, but she was eating the food. When your friends tossed the treats, was she eating the food, but then she just came right back to barking?
Sure, that's how it kind of worked.
Okay. Did you
Yeah.
notice what else did you notice, if anything, about her body language? I know you've mentioned that it's hard to read her ears, but was her body tense? Were her eyebrows furrowed? Was her tail going really fast? Was it up? Was it down? Any of those things?
Yeah, no, it was kind of hard because the the tricky factor is when my husband's around, she's very different. And he
Okay.
was in the room with her. So she was, she was just up on her legs and just bark, 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 bark. She would just come up and bark, 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 bark. Because she's, again, my girlfriend and I were standing on the opposite side of the room with the sofa between us.
Hmm.
So she just, she was I could see her jumping and whatnot, but as far as trying to get the facial, no, I couldn't do that. And he was trying to calm her, Hazel, calm down. Come on, it's okay, it's okay. Come on, Hazel. So she's got things coming from her from different direction.
Sure.
When
Yeah.
it's if we were just me and her, and we're not, and I'm trying to encourage him to be more proactive in watching your videos, hearing the things I'm asking him to do. The more of the distracting her, and when she's into stuff, instead of yelling at her, and because she don't care about that
Right.
at all.
Right.
Distracting her, and praising her, and those types of things, because it's kind of it gets tough,
Sure.
because you got two people doing two different things. And
Yeah.
I'm trying, to get him to come to a consensus that, these are the things we're paying a lot of money for.
Sure.
These are the things that are better proven to work than, the old school stuff,
Okay.
So it
There's
was
a so it's
just hard
challenging
to,
because
yeah.
yeah, you weren't the one with her. You're trying to just, talk with your friend and your husband's the one with her. I'm imagining that when you go down to see your family over the summer, what I'm trying to prepare us for is getting everybody on the same page because I'm imagining that when you go see your family, there might be some times where you are going to be Hazel's handler, like you're going to be with her on the leash, and there's going to be some times where you're talking to people and your husband is going to be the one handling her, right?
No,
So,
he's never going to be the one handling her. He
okay,
has MS. So,
okay,
I mean, rarely is he going to handle her on the leash, because all it takes is one distraction for her, or for her to lunge, and she's pretty strong to be, 34 pounds, and that would take him out. And so
okay,
I'm not comfortable with him handling her in that sense.
okay.
You know,
That's fair
he
enough.
won't, yeah, he doesn't walk her. I do all the walking, all the physical things with
It's the
her, because
physical stuff, right?
yeah, he has physical limitations,
Okay.
mobility issues, so he won't be handling her. Yeah.
So the goal is going to be either you're going to have her on leash, or if we can get her to be off leash in an
Yeah.
environment, that would be the goal. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that narrows it down a little bit then.
And my sister has historically had poodles, so she's not comfortable, with, she's, like I said, she had two poodles who were very spoiled, but and she had one from a puppy. The second one was adopted, and she had been kind of not abused in the sense of negative, but they had kids and the kids would just taunt her. And so
Ah, sure.
when she first came to the family, she wouldn't even make contact, eye contact. She was just very withdrawn and whatnot. And I saw her the first time. My sister probably had her a few weeks, and the second time I saw her was 6 months later, and she was ruling the coop. So, she's like, I like this house. I like being with the people. I'm good. This is where I sit, my chair. So she had acclimated pretty well. So that's a benefit. My sister's used to poodles, and she
Okay,
knows that I think they know more than we do. So, and we just come from a family who, genuinely love animals. So everyone's been exposed. Everyone has a dog. My stepmother has a poodle right now, but he's 16 years old and he don't want to be bothered with nobody. But
sure.
so yeah, so
Okay,
I'm comfortable with my family being, you know, um, understanding to what her needs will be.
perfect. That helps tremendously because for some families, and I'll throw myself in there, I know I have some friends and family members where if I say, my dog doesn't want to be pet, please ignore her, they
Mhm.
will just ignore those directions and try to pet her anyway, regardless of what her body language is showing. So there's usually always at least somebody in the circle of friends and family that we have. So the fact that you have other family members with dogs and you feel like they would be more amenable to honoring Hazel's consent already puts us a step ahead because otherwise you have to police a whole lot
Mhm.
more. You have to be so observant of what everyone is doing and what their interactions are with Hazel for safety reasons, right? We
Yeah.
don't want anyone trying to pet her when she didn't ask for it and someone maybe gets bit. Like that's worst case scenario what happens, and that would be horrible. So I'm going to, this is also why I harp so much about what your observations are on Hazel's body language because you will be the expert on Hazel. We are not going to expect your friends, your family members to know what Hazel's body language is and when she's calm and when she's relaxed. I mean, bonus if they are savvy at that, but you are going to be the one that's advocating for her in that regard. The barking that she was doing when your friend was coming over, it could be because the couch was in the way. Maybe she was frustrated that there was a barrier there. If she was on leash, I would be curious to see what her reaction would have been. Not that I want you to do that, but if she were, for example, lunging and pulling at the leash to try to get to the friend. And if the barking was such that like the rest of her body language showed that it was tense rather than loosey-goosey relaxed, that's a signal to me that she wants that person to go away. She's not
Yeah.
comfortable with that person if she wanted to be like, oh my God, who's that? Oh my God, who's that? And that's why she's pulling, you'd be able to see the difference. You'd be able to
Yeah.
see the change in tone.
Yeah. And I think that, just I think that it was probably I want her to go away more so because Carl was in the room.
Maybe,
And
yeah.
yeah, she seems to be a little bit more protective of him. And he thinks that if the situation was, if just me, she'd be very protective of me as well. And an example is that we were doing something. Oh, he let up the umbrella. He was letting up the umbrella, and this big spider was coming down. I got my
Mm,
shoe and I went towards, I'm going to kill the spider. You know, Sorry if you're catch and release. I was going to kill the big spider. And when I picked up the shoe and went towards him, she was like, oh, no, 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 no. She immediately got up and
mm,
ran over by him and started barking. I'm like, I am not going to hit him with the shoe. I'm trying to get the spider, get out of the way. And, so that was her knee jerk reaction, get up and go towards him, you know. Even sometimes in the morning, if he's trying to kiss me goodbye and I'm trying to get out the door with her, she's in the middle. She's like, what are you doing to him? It's her focus goes to him.
okay.
And yeah, it's like when he's around, she don't care anything about me, but I'm okay with that.
Should we all have our favorites and the way that we
Oh
kind of
yeah,
ebb and flow. Because I bet it's
yeah.
different when your husband's not home and you're
Oh
there,
yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's
Well,
it's different with the situation. If it's thunder and lightning or crashing or a sound that she doesn't know, or she runs to me and she's
right,
under me. But he's the playmate,
right.
and I think, most people always say a poodle will pick its person. I think she's a equal opportunity poodle
Yeah,
person
it's what it sounds
because
like.
yeah, because she is, she only had one person before. Now she's got two people who give her attention, who gives her pets. I take care of all of her needs. I feed her, I bathe, not bathe, I wash her up and, clean her eyes and do everything that needs to be done to her,
Hmm.
walking, everything, and he plays with her. So,
Yeah,
different dynamic.
you're the security.
Yeah.
Definitely, right? For those, like you said, the moments where there's thunder and it's like I'm a little bit nervous about what's going on. And that's good. We can use that to our advantage then to start trying to change her association with people. One of the first things that we'll do is have an understanding of distance. There's
Mhm.
going to be a certain distance where she's comfortable being from someone she doesn't know. So you can practice this, let's say, on walks. And you don't have to do
Mhm.
this like very specifically. Like you don't have to go on the walk being like, today we're doing this. But if you happen to come across this situation on a walk, it's a good time to be aware of it so you can practice it. So what I mean is that when you're on a walk and she sees someone, I remember last week there were the guys in the street or someone doing something in the street and she was
Yeah.
okay until the other guy came around. There's going to be a certain distance. Let's call it person is here and she's over here. And she's okay here at this distance. So she's over here and you can see she's got maybe not relaxed body language, but she is alert. Maybe
Mhm.
her ears are forward, maybe her mouth is closed. Maybe her tail is not wagging. She's not the loosey-goosey, oh my goodness, what's going on anymore. But she's not barking and lunging and staring. She's just like, okay, I see you. That's okay. But this is what we want to know because if the distance gets closer and she starts to bark and lunge, that's a signal that we're too close. So we
Mhm.
always want to be over here to do the rewarding of you looked at that person, you did not bark
Mhm.
and lunge, you get a treat,
Yeah.
right? But
So this,
we can only do that when there's this distance
yeah.
maintained. And eventually the goal is while we treat you for looking at this person at this distance and we do that often enough, we can start closing the gap more and more. What
Okay,
questions do you have about that?
so the last couple of days, our timing, we've been a few minutes later on our walk, which puts us with some kids going to a bus stop.
Mm,
So what I've noticed is, even on the sidewalk if these kids walk past us, she's been totally okay with it.
great.
They're teenagers. And
Okay.
I don't know. I think dogs sense various things. So she is absolutely cool with these teenagers. And there's been points when the kid comes out of the house, she literally stops and looks at them and is watching them, go down the street and whatnot. And I'm trying to get her to go on, and she's still watching this kid, you know. And she seems perfectly fine. There's no
Okay.
barking, there's no lunging, it's not even like I see the squirrel. It's just like watching these kids, and she'll look at me and I was like, yeah, that's a friend, and we're cool. So
Good.
I've kind of been trying to keep track of that. There's a lady who runs in the morning,
Yeah,
and
you've told me about her. Yeah,
yeah, no, she'll run, and if she sees us, she goes out in the street. She respects, the distance. And, she doesn't bark at this lady who is running towards us. But, I kind of think that it's been a few months, she's kind of accustomed to this lady.
sure.
We've got various dog friends uh, who are walking in the neighborhood. The big white dog, they watch each other very attentively,
Okay.
you know. you can see the dog, the big white dog is, watching her, but they walk, and we always respect each other and kind of like, okay, which curb are you at? And we cross the street and give the
Okay.
other space.
Love
Um,
that.
yeah. The other day, the little yapper who's never on leash was out, but she didn't run across the street. So I just kind of
Okay.
like, come on, Hazel, hurry up. Let's pick up our pace. And we
Sure.
just
Yeah.
got out of her eyesight. So she didn't, and she was busy doing her little dog stuff. So she didn't come racing at her. So I think the fact that she's seen these dogs every day and these people every day, that's gotten okay. Our friend, my neighbor honks at us, and he passes us every day and he honks the horn, and she'll jump, but um, yeah, there's been no barking incidents in our
Good.
walks, and
Okay.
the kids are out and about.
Excellent. Okay. That sets us up to do this more often then. I like that when you mentioned those kids were passing by, she didn't do anything. If you're
Mhm.
already taking treats on walks, that would be
Yeah.
a good opportunity to be like, kids are passing by and you're not barking, lunging, doing anything undesirable. Give her a treat.
Mhm.
So people walking by, treat.
Mhm.
The lady that comes running, he sees or she sees the lady, she gets a treat
Mhm.
for not react. She doesn't have to do anything. All she has to do is not react for her to
Okay.
get food from you. So we are rewarding the absence of a big explosion in behavior, basically, is what
Okay.
we're doing. You can do this for pretty much anything, right? Technically,
Okay.
like if you're inside and she hears a loud noise that she would normally like go bark at, maybe it's a garbage truck coming by, but instead she just kind of perks up and she's like, what was that? You can be like, yeah, that's it. I heard it too. Yeah, that was weird. Here, you get a treat because you did not explode and we're all good here. We're all good. You get a treat. Yeah, we're all good. Those are things that you can start to incorporate for everyday things because we're rewarding her just for not having an explosive reaction to something that
Yeah.
maybe she would.
Yeah. And see, this part gets confusing for me because Hazel is such a little manipulator. We try to keep her, like I said, last night she was a little bit just a octave above calm. She wasn't
Yeah.
out of the box. She was just, and part of that is the licking her butt. So she's like, oh, we're like, oh God. And so I'm like, Hazel, and I throw the treats, and she gets scattered, and she gets up and she finds them all, and she goes back, and then she's like, okay. She goes back to the licking, and then she looks up, like, okay, so where are my treats? I was licking my butt. Do I
Hmm.
get treats? And I'm like, not really. That's
Right.
not the point to get you to lick your butt, is to get you to stop.
Yeah.
So, eh,
Okay.
mhm.
And when you're trying to redirect her, are you using her name to redirect her?
Yes,
Like to get her attention? Okay.
yeah.
What we can do is we can change that to what if we change that to a noise? Something
Mhm.
like a kissy sound, like when you kind of purse your lips into that
Okay.
just to get her attention and then call her to come to you and then just maybe do a hand target, which I
Yeah.
think I've asked before and we've talked about introducing this to Hazel, but it's something super easy that she doesn't have to really work at. Basically, you put your hand out like this, and if
Mhm.
she touches her nose to your hand, that's it. She gets a treat.
Mhm.
That's basically all it is. I can send you the handout on technically how it works, but the idea is you put either your hand out. Some people use just two fingers, so they'll put
Mhm.
two fingers down. And if you need to start with, you might smear some peanut butter on your fingers so she can be like, what's there? But if she goes to it, all she needs to do is tap. Yes, treat. Fingers come out, tap. Yes, treat. Just as a way to break that cycle instead of, and because you can call her over, like do the kissy sound, call her over to touch your hand and then do the treat scatter, just so it's that
Oh,
sequence. So that way it's just not. only the treat scatter, doing
Mhm,
something easy where she can occupy her brain of, you asked me to do a hand target. And then
mhm.
as she learns more behaviors, we can be like, great, let's do a hand target and a sit and something else, and then go off and do your treat scatter. That way, there's a couple more layers in there to break apart that I want to go back to the licking behavior.
Okay, yeah, because that's exactly what she does. And then she's like, looking at the because I keep the little cup of treats next to me on the couch so that I can always have access to it when I either need to distract her or praise her, if she's doing nice, if she's very calm. I'm
Good.
still as many times a day as I can, catch her doing that and give her something, you know. So I keep her, but like I said, it's like she becomes, the manipulator. It's like, oh, I got some more treats for that. So let's go back to it. Like, no,
Sure.
that wasn't the point.
I think it would also help if you can catch it before it happens. If
Mhm.
you see her starting to turn around, like, I'm about to start doing it, that would be the time to do this, if you
And we
catch
do
it.
we try that. We try
Okay,
that, but
great.
when she as soon as she finishes finding all the Cheerios, she's back to it. And so maybe that would be the mat time again.
Yeah,
Maybe because she needs
yep.
something more. But yeah. Yeah, I didn't want, but I understand what you're saying now about, having her do the mat thing more often, but I thought that we were using that for the big calm down and instead of, more just daily stimulation.
Yeah. And it can go both ways. I do
Because
that for my dogs.
when we're home, like now she's on the other side. When I got up and to come in here, I'm in the dining room. She of course takes my where I sit in the living room. So she just moved over there because when we started the video, um, so she's chill all day. And I mean, when it's just the two of us home, I can go upstairs, I can do what I need to do, and she's not mischievous. She's
Okay,
just kind
good.
of chill. Yeah.
Yeah.
When my husband's home, she's mischievous. 'Cause I
But
just,
he's
yeah.
play buddy, so it kind of
Yeah.
makes sense that he is, right? Okay,
Yeah.
well, I like this I like that strategy of using something to interrupt her or at the start of that behavior and definitely at the end of that sequence using a lick mat if th that means you need to use the lick mat more often. That's okay. That's
Mhm.
assuming that you're okay using the lick mat more often. You can use something else aside like a Kong that's stuffed, a topple that chart or the handout I have on different kinds of long-term calming projects will have other examples of these kinds of things that I'm talking about. I have a freezer full of lick mats, Kongs, topples, popsicles, just for any time that I feel like I'm gonna need it. So it's not like I have it planned all the time. I just know that there might be sometimes my sister will come over and my dogs are they're gonna go nuts and I want them to just do something on their own while my sister comes in and gets settled. So what I just pull whatever I have. I'll be like, here, go enjoy this in your safe space while we get settled. And it just helps them keep themselves occupied as she's coming in.
So what do you use in the freezer in the Kongs that you're freezing?
Anything you want. I think right now I've got some that are stuffed with canned pumpkin, some chopped up vegetables like broccoli, carrot thing. Some of them I know have a little bit of cream cheese and banana and what else did I do this week? I rotate it just from week to week, just
Okay.
for fun, for whatever. Usually it's stuff I get from the grocery store. It's nothing like super fancy. Sometimes I'll throw a little bit of canned dog food in there just to keep it healthy. And sometimes I might feed my dog's meal just through Kongs, just because why not? Because it's going to take her a while to go through them. Sometimes if the
What
dry
did you
food,
say?
I
Meal?
might, her meals. Yeah. Like her
Okay.
kibble that she eats.
Oh,
Sometimes
okay.
I'll mix that with some canned food and shove it into the Kong. I've taken some of that dry food, let it soak in water for like half an hour, smash it into a mush, and then stuff it into the Kong. So there's lots of different ways that you can do that. And everybody's different. I don't mind. Over the years, I have bought a bunch of Kongs. I have bought a bunch of lick mats. So that's why I just have them. But it comes in handy for you to just pull something out without having to prepare something in the moment. So for
Mhm.
me, that works. But there are other things that you can use, or you can just do it in the moment if you don't want to buy a bunch of stuff. Also, totally fine. We can
Yeah.
have different options ready.
Yeah, well, I had hesitated with buying more Kongs because their treats that are all in there are beef and chicken
Yeah.
flavored to purchase. So that's good. I am watching her with the yogurt
Okay.
because she was rubbing her eyes one day that she did the lick mat, and she doesn't peanut butter doesn't bother her because she has peanut butter almost every day. I wasn't sure about the cheese or the yogurt, so I'm going to have to keep watching both of those to see if
Good.
that is a trigger.
Yeah.
Um, and let me ask you this. Maybe you know the answer to this. Because Carl said his vet had told him he had the wiener dogs, the little bitty wiener dogs.
The dachshunds. Hmm.
Yeah, that they could use Benadryl. True or false?
In the grand scheme of things, yes, dogs can take Benadryl. However, I wouldn't say that that's something for like everyday use. Just like in
Yeah.
people, there are
Right.
far better daily allergy medications out there. I might go to a Benadryl if either me or my dog is having an allergic reaction. So
Okay.
if that ever happens and you call your vet, they might be like, give Benadryl at home because it's a severe allergic reaction type of thing. But for just daily allergies, there are
Mhm.
lots of other and frankly better medications out there. Like they won't make her drowsy and so forth. And just like in humans, in my life, I've gone through Allegra, through Zyrtec, through like all of these meds until I found the one that works. It's the same thing with dogs. So
Yeah.
not the same drug is not the same for every dog.
Okay. Okay. And don't mistake me, misunderstand me. I'm not cheap. We're willing to pay whatever, but I mean, the visits were piling up. We were spending four hundred
Yeah.
dollars every other week taking her out there
Yeah.
to what point? She's not doing every day. Last night she rubbed her eyes a little. Was trying to think, was there anything that she had, but I I don't. When we come from outside, she's
Hmm.
in the grass. Uh, which is for us. And that's why I asked about it because it doesn't seem like it's all the time. It's just occasionally. Now, she also ate a bunch of grass and then threw up. But,
Mm.
I mean, a lot of grass. But she was just out rooting around. And then we saw her and I was like, Hazel, come here. And, she came running. But by then she had ingested a pretty bit much of it. And when she came in the house 5 minutes later, she had thrown up a pile of grass, which was fine. Yeah, no foul, no harm. But yeah, that's why I asked about it because it doesn't seem like it's something that she needs daily. It just seems like, if she's been out there too long or a long time or whatever.
For that matter, then, I see a lot of people treat this, and I do this for myself. I take an allergy medication seasonally. So I
Mhm,
take it seasonally every day, but I
mhm.
may not need it once the fall comes around. There's a lot of dogs that fall into that category too.
Yeah.
So maybe she
Okay.
doesn't need something every day all year round, but could she use an allergy med every day from spring to fall?
Yeah.
Maybe. So
Okay.
that's something to consider. I love that you're noticing how she's behaving with the different elements, whether it's the food, whether it's the time outside. That's exactly the approach to take. That way you can start being like, what is the pattern here? Is it a
Mhm,
food? Is it an environmental thing? That way we can start narrowing down the focus. Because
mhm.
those visits get expensive. My dog has seen a dermatologist, and that is expensive. So I
Okay.
get it.
Mhm.
Okay, well, continue to keep an eye on that, the cheese and the yogurt to see how she does with that. But I think you can use those as just regular human foods as ideas for either stuffing a Kong or for lick mats or for any of the other long-term calming projects. Um, the other thing that I wanted to go over is, so we've gone over if she is, if someone passes by, or essentially if there's a trigger at a safe distance and she doesn't react to it, she can get a treat. That's
Okay.
basically what we'll do for now. So she can get treat for not, I'm just taking notes so I remember. So not reacting to a trigger. Now, the other thing I want is for her to have, I keep saying it, the skills to move away. But for now, you said that at least in the last week, she's been okay. We haven't had any big incidents on a walk.
No, there were some lawn guys, one day, and it was funny because the one guy walked past and she was fine. Another guy was putting on his shoes or something, and he came up and she just like at him, and he was like, really? And but she was all barky barky at him, where she just pretty much side-eyed the other guy and walked past him. So I
Okay,
don't know what, his actions triggered. Maybe she thought he was going to come towards us or something, whereas the other guy just passed by and he said good morning to me, but
sure.
she didn't react at all, but to the one. And then
Okay,
that's really the only time she barked at anybody out on our walks.
okay.
Mhm.
As I do want her to understand that she can move away from something that she's afraid of, and you
Mhm.
would be the one leading her away. When you are with your family, though, I if she's going to be on leash, sure, then yes, you are going to be the one to lead her away. But that also takes you out of the equation of being able to enjoy the time with your family.
Mhm.
So another thing that we can do before we even talk about the skill to move away
Mhm.
is we can talk about muzzle training
Okay.
as a safety precaution just in case.
Okay.
Because if you're hanging out with your family and you're indoors and you have her on leash and she's not comfortable, you're reading her body language, she's either barking, she's lunging, and she's like, I'm just not comfortable with this situation, that's going to have to end your ability to hang out with your family. So either you have to take her somewhere else, put her in another room where she feels safe with a treat and, maybe some calming music or something, because being with the family is too much. And like you said, we'll have to figure that out on how she feels, but that's one option. The second option is she can stay with you. She may be uncomfortable, but as long as she's not barking and lunging, we're just going to ask everybody else to ignore her.
Mhm.
Just ignore her. There is no petting allowed. Don't talk to her. Don't look at her. Just ignore her. But if we go down that route and you don't have her on leash, I want her to have a muzzle on because now we're trusting her to be wherever. And I
Mhm.
don't know what she's going to do because you will not be in control of her with the leash. Does that make
Mhm.
sense? What are your
Yeah.
thoughts about that?
Yes, I get that. And strategically I was trying to figure it out too. You know, we have a big open family area and then there's the deck. So she could always be on the deck if she's not comfortable. I just put a gate up at the top, the second level. So I would
Mm,
put a gate up so she couldn't get down the steps. So that could be her safe space to get away from, everybody. So, we're trying to think it out. And I also thought I asked my sister to sleep in a t-shirt a couple of nights and send it to me so she could be familiar with my sister's scent. I don't
sure.
know if it makes a difference, but it seemed to make a difference. My girlfriend in Atlanta did it before she met her son's dog, Nova. And she and Nova are best friends. Whenever she goes to Philly, Nova's like, "Oh my God, my grandmother's here. I know this is my grandmother, but she's going to take me for long walks and we'll do da 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 da." And she absolutely loves her. So I was like, doesn't sound like a terrible idea. What could it hurt that she would know the scent of this person?
Yeah,
So
agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fine.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like that you're considering that. Like, worst case scenario, if Hazel's having a hard time and whatever the environment that she's in, what can we do to separate her from that situation? So that is something that we'll keep in our back pocket. As far as what we do then for next skills for her, so we can definitely work on training her to wear a muzzle. We can focus
Hmm.
our efforts there. That will involve purchasing a muzzle, first of all. So if you're interested in that, I can send you a list of recommendations of which ones. I usually like basket muzzles, which are easier to eat food out of because she still is going to be able to eat food, drink water. And the goal is that we would train her to wear it in such a way that this is fun for her. Like she wants to put her head in there is how we would eventually train it. Let me see if I can find this here. I can find it so we can go over it real quick. Let's see. See if I can open up a link. That way you can see. Also, okay, let me share my screen. That way you can see this real quick. So this is just on Amazon, but these are what I mean by basket muzzles.
Hmm.
And there are different sizes. There's different suggestions based on how your dog's snout is measured. So if you have, do you sew at all? Do you have like any soft measuring tape where you could measure the circumference of like her snout?
Yeah, I have a measuring tape.
Okay, perfect. So measuring the circumference and also measuring kind of the bridge from right between her eyes down to the tip of her nose. Those would be two things to measure as starting points to figure out what size should I be at. It's not an exact science. You might get it and be like, oh, well, maybe this is going to be too big or maybe it's going to be too small. But this handout here is usually pretty helpful for giving you suggestions on I make this bigger. I don't know if I can make that bigger. Try this. There. Ah, stop
Okay.
clicking. Come here, come back. Come back. There. So it gives you examples based on some typical breeds on like what kind of size you should order. But ordering a muzzle would be the first step. I don't want you to do anything else with it. We'll start training for it probably next session, but for now you can just order it and just keep it somewhere safe. Don't show it to her. Don't do anything. Um, and then we'll go from there. Any questions about the muzzle or what the
No,
point is with using it?
no, I had to muzzle my collie shepherd during certain times, vet
Sure.
visits and stuff like that. And actually, I had to muzzle a cat.
Yeah, that happens too.
But she was vicious. Yeah, she hated the vet or anyone within a block radius of the vet. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, the muzzle doesn't, it's not an excuse for us to put down our guard on let's read her body language, let's see if she wants to engage or not engage. It's just an added safety measure. So we're still going to
Mhm.
ask our guests to honor her. If she doesn't want to be pet, leave her alone. If she does want to be pet, you can pet her. And if
Mhm.
she does want to interact with you more, you can give her treats. But if she wants nothing to do with it, then don't. It's just an added safety thing, basically. I also wanted to go over, let's see, let me go back and find it. This video is in some of the body language stuff that I had sent before, but I wanted to go over it together just so we make sure that we're on the same page about what I mean by petting consent and by knowing the body language signals that are indicating does any dog, does Hazel want to be pet or not? So I'm going to play this video. And again, you'll have access to this, but I just wanted us to go through it together. So they're going to show an example
Hmm.
to start indoors. So she's going to pet and then she's going to remove her hand. And the dog just stands there. So the no is because there was no indication they wanted it to continue. Like the dog
Okay.
didn't be like, hey, hey, what are you doing? Why did you stop? Or she didn't like nudge her head into her. So the absence of anything happening means I'm done with this. I just maybe want to stand close to you. So let me play this back again. So she keeps looking away. She's not
Yeah.
interested.
Hmm.
She's got her brow furrowed. Her tail is pretty straight. She's looking away. Now she licked her lips. Yep.
Okay.
So I won't play the whole thing. I think at some point she goes into what the dog looks like when they want to be pet.
Hmm.
But anyway, you get the idea of that's how we are asking, do you want to be pet or not? And that's what the family members should be asking, right? So when she's around family. So if she's not giving any indication, maybe she just wants to stand there. Like she
Hmm.
might be perfectly fine being chill around everybody as long as they're not putting hands on her. In
Okay.
which case, the muzzle is just there for decoration. The
Hmm.
whole goal with the muzzle is that it's not going to need to be an issue. Like it's not going to come into play. It's just a just in case. That's
Hmm.
basically all it is. Any questions about that?
Yeah. No, I'm good with it.
Okay.
Yeah. They've actually asked me, they asked me at the groomers, if she had a reaction, if it was okay to muzzle her. And of course I told them yes, but they haven't had to do it. So
Okay.
it's a good
Okay.
thing.
So we'll just keep that in our toolbox, but I think for next session, we'll talk. I think in subsequent sessions, we'll touch little more and more on how the progression of training how to use the muzzle, which is probably going to be okay for her, given that she's amenable to lots of other things. She seems excited about training, and I'll walk you through it. And then we'll
Mhm.
start to layer in other ways of getting her comfortable around people, right?
Okay.
So for now, for this week, let's just focus on when you're out on walks or anywhere else that she sees something she's concerned about
Hmm.
and she doesn't have a reaction, she can
Okay.
get a treat, whether
Okay.
that's a person, an animal, a noise. If she doesn't react, then she can get a treat. That's just basic classical conditioning. We're pairing the scary thing with a good thing. And I mean, like,
Hmm.
that's it. Like, we're all good. Nothing to do here. We can eventually we'll graduate that to maybe she'll see the person far away and then she'll look at you. And now we're making progress because now
Hmm.
she's associating, I see something I'm concerned about. Let me check in with my safe person for directions on what to do next.
Hmm.
That's That's awesome. That would be tremendous if she did that. And if she starts doing that with you on walks, if you start doing this on walks where you're just giving her treats for looking at stuff, if she jumps ahead and she starts looking at the thing, doesn't react, and then she looks at you, you can give her a treat then. Like you
Okay.
can give her that half second to check in with you. That is a great sign of progress.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because she often does look at me and I was like, oh, that's good. Good girl, you know. But yeah, I can reward her with treats as well.
Perfect. Okay.
She's gonna be so overweight. No.
Well, and to your point, if we because we are using treats, you
Yeah.
can absolutely adjust the amount of her
Yeah.
meals to incorporate that into it, right? Take that into consideration.
Yeah, well, and I don't know what your feelings about this is because I was used to feeding her, feeding my dog separate times a day. She was
Mhm.
used to always having her food. So I kind of left that with her because she was alone so much. So she kind of eats when she wants to eat. But she mostly eats, if we're home, she mostly eats when we eat because
Mhm.
she seems to be a little bit of a social eater. When we bring her bowl in the dining room when we sit down to eat, and she'll eat then and then finally just kind of she'll beg a little while and then she'll settle down. But I don't know if you have any real thoughts about if that's a good practice or not.
I think it depends on the family and whatever works for you. I don't have any problems with it. I feed
Okay.
my dogs twice a day. I think
Yeah.
if you're having issues with controlling her weight with the
Yeah.
free feeding like this,
Mhm.
then maybe we can consider twice a day or three times a day feedings based on what works for your schedule. But if this
Yeah.
is working for you now, I don't see a need to change it
Yeah.
until it becomes an
No,
issue.
no,
Okay.
it's just, the amount of treats. She gets a
Yeah.
lot of treats.
Because yeah, to your point, then it's hard to gauge because you don't know how much she ate in a day. So I can appreciate why it's hard. If she does start to gain weight and you notice, maybe we should consider going to the twice daily feeding.
Oh no,
Um,
I monitor her bowl, but I'm just saying, um, one of the things I give her too is, I haven't really tried vegetables yet, but
oh,
I give
sure.
her, she loves apples. So
Okay.
as a treat, before she goes to bed and when we leave her, we usually give her a treat once she goes behind the gate and whatnot. She's having a dream or something. She's over there whining.
Oh,
Um, well, we give her apples and things that she really likes so that she doesn't feel like, we're not punishing you putting downstairs.
yeah,
You just need to go down there. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, you can continue exploring different vegetables. Then let's leave it at that for this week. You can explore different veggies. You can explore just different food options for using the long-term calming projects, whether that's spreading on the lick mat or stuffing Kongs. We'll start rewarding her for not reacting to triggers. Even better if she starts to look at you before the treat even comes. And you can continue using you can interrupt her if you see her licking, try to get ahead of it, but use something to interrupt her, maybe try a hand target and then do a lick mat or something else that's going to keep her engaged a little bit longer. I think that's enough. I mean, as you get to it, you can go back to the trading game, but I think that's enough for us to focus on for this coming week. What do you think?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Any questions about any of that? We've got our next session scheduled for next Thursday on the 8th. Do you want to schedule, wait, Thursday? Yes, Thursday the 8th. Friday the 8th. Wait a minute. Is
Well,
it
I
Thursday or
think
is it Friday? Let me look.
I don't I don't think it's
May
Thursday. Mm.
7th, maybe? It's the 7th, Thursday, May 7th. And
Uh,
we're for 10 a.m.?
okay. I double booked. But,
Do you want to
no,
change
no,
it? We can change it.
no, no. I think I have to change the other one. So, Hazel's 5 8th. Is it 7th or the 8th? The
It's the
7th.
7th, 5/7 on a Thursday
5/7,
at
and what was it? 10?
10 a.m.
Mhm. Yep, no problem. Yeah, I have an appointment at 1 o'clock, but that doesn't interfere with it at all.
Okay. Do you want to schedule the next one after that, or you want to wait till next week?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. No, we're going to keep moving.
Do you want to do
14th.
still a week apart? So the next week would be Thursday the 14th or Friday the 15th.
The 14th, because Friday, the 15th, I never know when I have to work Fridays.
Gotcha.
I
So
leave it,
Thursdays are
my
better.
work schedule's open for Monday,
Okay.
Wednesday, Friday. So Tuesday, Thursday
Gotcha.
are my days.
Let's see what we've
Okay,
got. So the 14th, I have 10 a.m.
that's fine.
Okay. I also have, if afternoon works better, I have 1:30 in the afternoon.
Mhm. Let's do 1:30 on that day.
Okay, great. So this is the
14th.
14th
Mhm.
at 1:30 schedule. Okay, beautiful. So now we are booked out for all of our sessions.
Okay, and is it okay if I let you know next week, whether or not I'll do the 3 additional?
Yes, absolutely. No hurry
And
on thinking about that. And I know that too, there will be things that you may want to revisit. So you may want to be
okay,
like, you may, especially once we get into the muscle training, you may be like, I want to take a hot second to like work through this before we meet again. That's okay. So if a few weeks go by, like 2 or 3 weeks go by before we pick up with the sessions again, I understand that. Um, if you want, and also going back to, do you want to use that to focus on the basic training stuff, or do you want to keep working on the strangers and associating with them, and then leave the basic training stuff for something that's more cost effective, like a class or something else? So there's different ways that we can go about it.
yeah, yeah. I think that as we move forward, we will know what the need is.
Yeah, I agree.
I do want her to get basic training, but again, maybe I can just look at some more videos. Like last night, um, she likes to give me hugs. So she gives me hugs. She comes up, and so I took her all the way to lay with some treats because I just like brought her legs out from under her,
Hmm.
and she was like, "Oh, okay." And she gobbled up all of her treats. So this morning we kind of did it again, and she was a little bit more, okay, all right, maybe, yeah, yeah,
Getting the
yeah.
hang of it.
Yeah, so yeah, but as far as obeying it as a command, she's not nowhere near there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay.
Like,
And
yeah.
a lot of those take a lot of practice anyway, so I think you're okay in that it's taking a while. That's the case for most people, right?
Mhm,
We're not spending hours a day training. 5 minutes most is probably good just for her mental capacity, so that
mhm.
we're only going to make so much progress every day.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think we're doing pretty well so far. I'll send you this training plan before the end of the day, and if you have any questions before next week, you know that you can reach out anytime. I'm here for you.
Okay. All right then. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good rest of your day. We'll see you next
You
week.
too.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.